You know how I feel. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Test. Okay, sweet. All right. Well, that was a nightmare. Oh no, 1 second. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question, Luna. All right, so this is me. All right, let's see how we doing. There's Ann down in the corner there. Tara is taking some much-needed contraction time. Meaning she was in work. She teaches gyrotonic. That's what she showed us the other night, and that was fresh off of a workshop weekend that she had just, or week, 7 days actually that she had just had, and so she's getting that time to herself right now before the holidays and all that stuff ramps up. And Anne has been cool enough to sit in on the class, and I think we got everything going good. Okay, so I really apologize for the super late start. It's computer streaming, y'all, and sometimes, things just go wonky right when you press go, especially on OBS. Sometimes you press go, and that's the software I use. And so anyway, I apologize for the super late start, but I really don't have much of a beginning except this, that I am still kind of like looking at the holiday schedule. I'm pretty sure, well, I know that I'm not sure how they fall, but we're not going to do any classes or events from Christmas Day to New Year's Day. So, or whatever that expanse of time is. I haven't looked at the calendar closely. What's that? Yeah. Oh, well, we could do a birthday jam if Ann wants to do one for her birthday, but. I'm not going to be back until. Okay, mute. Never mind. We'll scratch all that. But anyway, we're going to take some time off and of the streaming and then come back. We will have a class before the new year actually hits. So tonight I was really just going to do kind of a multi-topics class and just sort of a, just sort of whatever's been coming up. And I was hooping in order to come up or to think about and come up with stuff for tonight's class, and then all of a sudden I had a whole practice out, and I really explored a lot of penny roll stuff. And so I want to show you, or coin. I don't really know what it's called, and I've gotten really insecure right as I went live that maybe the penny roll means something else than what I'm going to say tonight, because I do not keep up with the language that much anymore. And so Anne's saying that it's not an exact science over there. So I want to show you what I consider to be the penny plane. And we're going to explore that. And that's what I did with my practice. So I've actually got a couple exercises written out here, and we're just going to kind of float through these things. This is the foundations class, so I do want you guys to be able to learn something. Addressing Luna's question, though. Oh, hey, Patty, by the way. Jennifer, Lisa. Yeah, coin flip. I don't know if this is going to be like the same thing. So, yeah, so I think penny roll, like it's the same coin, But usually, like, coin flips are a lot of times when you're on the outside edge of the hoop and that's what they kind of mean. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? We're actually going to be on the inside of the hoop wall and the outside of the hoop wall and everywhere in between tonight with this idea. But I'm going to walk you through it. Luna, at what point do you stop calling yourself a beginner? I really think when this is going to sound super avoidant, but like when you feel like you've put the work in and it's shown, and by work, it doesn't, this is the funnest work in the world that you could possibly, try on. But what it means is that you just see yourself get better. And at some point you're like, like if you enjoy being a beginner, like if that's really like you like that beginner's mind and you just want to live there, that's kind of where I am in my woodworking right now. I'm living in beginner's mind and I like it. So I'll probably call myself a beginner for a while. I wouldn't call myself a beginner when it comes to hooping though, because I watched myself move through a progression. Like I witnessed it. And I didn't need anybody else's validation. Of course, it helped if other people were saying like, wow, you've really gotten good. But I knew I was getting better. And so then I think if you honor the progression, well, okay, no, that's a different thing. The beginner's mind is this treasured, beautiful place. And so, please, not just for Luna, but for everybody, just keep that in mind that the beginner, the world is so expansive. It's so huge. It's intimidating in its expanse. What happens after you've been doing anything for a long time is it starts to contract and you sort of feel like, well, you've done as much as you can, or you've done as much as, you personally can. Or you've grown as much as you can. You'll go through phases too. If you vary your hoop practice up enough, you'll be a beginner in one area, but then way advanced in another area, right? And so like for me, I was way advanced in shoulder hooping for a while, and advanced by my own metric, right? But then in balance, I was a total beginner, and I loved that like sort of play. Like I almost expected myself to be good at shoulder hooping, but with balance, it was this totally new thing. So I wouldn't worry too much. But only a jerk is going to shame you for claiming that you're an intermediate, and they're going to say, no, you're a beginner. That would be like just the jerkiest move in the world, and I don't think anybody would even think that, to be honest. Okay, but I want to, since we had such a late start here, I hope that little talk helped rather than hurt.
2 thumbs up.
Anne says it was okay.
That's more. 2 thumbs up is more than okay.
Well, she gave it 2 thumbs up, but it sounded a little like maybe, I forgot to put okay, awkward moment on the stream here. I need to lift my chair. All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good, Lena. Just what we all need to hear, right? Like I'm going through it myself right now as we speak. Okay. I just realized I didn't have one thing set up here. Okay, so let's jump in and get this going. We're gonna bounce from my iTunes to my SoundCloud, and I just realized that I never really got dressed for class. I've just been so this is what I wore today in my hooping life.
Didn't have time to change any of your hooping clothes, really.
I know. Well,
Best case scenario.
these are my hooping clothes.
Best case scenario.
Okay, so we're gonna shift over to you there, Anne. Audible breath in. I'm not gonna mess with the volume, so you can adjust accordingly. If you need louder music or you need softer mic or both, let me know. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. The space in front of you is your day. The space behind you is your night. Audible breath in. I am opening to the space in front of me and also the space behind me. Audible breath in. Big breaths in the body, big breaths out of the body. Open, open, open. Wow, I'm feeling tight. Open, open. Big breaths in will help you stretch. Audible breath in. Open, open. Audible breath in. Okay. All right. Yeah?
Yeah.
Anne had a good sway, that's what she's saying. Glad Anne is not mic'd up right now. Okay. All right. So let's jump into it then. All right, there we go. Yeah, let me make sure we got. Okay, so we're sort of set here. Oh, well. Uh-oh. Okay, well, actually, I'll fix this later. So let me go ahead and show you some things first here. And this first thing I wanted to show you, I want to ask you if you can, if you're not outside or somewhere, if you can sit down. I think that will be helpful for us right now. If you can sit down on the floor. because down here you can really, like, without very much consequence, you can really kind of feel the penny roll type of effect. Now, I want to massively give props, or this is such a Brecken Rivera move right here. And she's like my sister to me. And so I would never in a million years want it to, although the thing is that she hates that this is her move, I think. But this is, so, right, Louise. Oh, okay, I'm reading some of your comments now. So if you're here and you can lean into the hoop a little bit here and then sort of feel its connection as it rolls, and then allow that roll to just move around the body, right? Like, so that, like, if there was a red paint on the outside edge of my hoop here, I would be leaving a circle. And I can play with the current of that circle. Now, this is a very, one of the things that Brecken did was she was a very 10 and 2, or that was like how she would lead students at first, and she actually kind of swore by it. It can be done, like, not that there's versions of this. I mean, everybody has their own version, but this is me if I'm in double point, but I'm at the polars, like, or the pole points here, like I'm at farthest east and farthest west, and I'm doing that same movement here. Let me put some music on so we can. Now, we're not going to stay here for too long, but this movement can begin to help you sort of feel the penny roll effect, right? There we go. Now you can see me. And then I can start to play with how I touch the hoop. But this is the sort of penny roll type motion. And then if I fold that motion out, that might be something like that, if I just push a hand forward and just let them roll over each other. And, not just permanently, but in any moment, there's kind of a sweet spot. And so right now, you're feeling for your sort of sweet spot in this moment, with this song, with this technique right now. For me, I'm actually noticing that I like Brecken's technique, although I'm maybe a little bit looser on it right now. My hands may be a little bit further, but I'm digging that. I've been sitting at my computer a lot, and this twist is sort of helping me open that up. Now, if I pick myself up off of this, then in the absence of the floor, right? And of course, and you can stay seated down there, and it's totally fine. But in the absence of the floor, where what resistance was there, I'll just imagine it right now. Or if I'm feeling like getting gooey, I can make, instead of there being a floor that I'm rolling my hoop off, now I'm rolling it off of me. I've brought the second point of contact, the secondary point, all the way to my core, and then this is called the smear. I'll just let you guys play with that. basically when we're intentionally in this sort of angle, like that's the intention. We're not out of alignment. We're not supposed to be vertical. We're not supposed to be horizontal. We're intentionally leaving the plane in this kind of hanging angle. Find a flow with all this. I'm imagining you already have, but if you haven't, one way you can find a flow with all of this stuff is to imagine this touch point, this secondary point of contact. Oh, that's not the song I want to play. Oops. Because now we are going to switch over to the SoundCloud that I have prepared. There we go. Okay, so for our first penny roll experience as within the class. Actually, maybe I should put it on. Yeah, we'll come to that in a second. The first one that we're going to work on is this kind of hanging penny roll type movement, because this is really what's going to set up some of the stuff we do. And so I'm standing here, and what I'm doing is I'm holding the hoop right now. I'm creating kind of a shelf in my day side right here. And then what I'm going to try to do is just sort of very easily or very gently just pass the hoop around me in this kind of penny roll here. Yeah, maybe it needs to come up, but you're maybe right.
Yeah, it's just got my feet.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Oh, that one. Oh, yeah. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, don't.
We'll come back to that. We'll fix that in a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hanging the hoop here. Just want to stay with this. Let me go ahead and bring the music back on. So the first penny roll that we're going to do would be you kind of consider this on body, right? And so what I'm going to do is I've got the hoop held here. I'm going to bring my elbows high, and then I'm going to see if I can start to push the hoop around me, let it travel around me. Now, as I'm letting the hoop hang, I'm inside of the hoop. So when the hoop is rolling across my legs, I can push the hoop there. And you can, if you start to sort of zone in on let me show. That's a little bit better angle. You see how the hoop is coming across the front of Anne's legs? So if she just puts her awareness on the front of her legs, just on that touch, the front of her legs are going to start to put momentum on the hoop. You see how like all of a sudden the hoop gets silky and smooths up there, right? And so this is one of the cool things about penny rolls, is that they create multiple points of contact on you. And you can, oh, right there is and just saw her face and it's tripping her out. Yeah. Okay, so Anne doesn't have a mic, so I'm going to translate what Anne is saying to me off camera right now. She is saying that in addition to feeling these points of contact, that she she's feeling the sort of spiral of her back, of her spine. She's saying that the upper contact point is in opposition to the lower contact point, so that the body's constantly moving in a spiral. All right. Gotcha. Anne is sharing that this is hard for her, that this the lower chakra stuff. I don't know what that means, but she's saying that this is for her. Okay, I see. Right. So I'm going to show you. Yeah, this was our first HoopPath design ever. Okay, so let me bring the music down a little bit, and we'll add some stuff to this. Okay, so what we're going to start to do now is add a little bit of hand movement to this, just to kind of make it a little bit easier. If you took the Kaya Snakes class, I don't know if Luis, if you're still watching, but if you took the Kaya Snake class, then this is a technique of that class. So I'm taking... What you're going to do is just hold the hoop. Actually, let's all start in the same place. I'm going to hold the hoop on, I'm within it, and I'm going to hold the hoop up here. But then I'm going to so the hoop is being held by this point up here on my arm. But then this hand is going to come in here, kind of like a snake head, and it's just going to sort of move that hoop back and forth just by moving the fingers. I'm here. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, this was a fun move.
Right.
Back in the day. I love this one. It's so subtle.
Yeah, Anne is telling me that she likes this move. It's subtle, and she just remembered us doing it from a million years ago. There's sort of Anne, so you can see her a little bit better there. Okay, Louisa, this is your moment to shine here. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is how these things start to work in. So what happens here is, instead of I pull the hoop off my body a little bit, I'm keeping it out here on the elbows, and I'm letting my hands, now they are starting to push the hoop around. And so if I keep my elbows both high in the night side, or if I think that, then they become this shelf back here. And then the back of my hands are coming and making contact on the hoop just enough that I can put push on the hoop and get it to go around. Now, of course, you're going to have your different take on this. And then if we stay with you're moving your legs, kind of like you can sort of see Anne doing it right now. If we stay with that, then it has a way to, this motion can have a way of absorbing you into it. Now, I will show you now, before we get too deep into this, that a really easy reverse would be like, if you imagine this is a current that I'm making right here, but this hand, as I'm passing along, instead of pushing it, I could just flip the fingers out for a moment and reverse it. Whatever different motion that is, what I want to make there. So if you're really lost at home, and this will be better on HD, but this is the motion. Do you see how my fingers on this side, but then I bring them up, they're here, here, here. So this is what it looks like. If I took the point to like my neck, maybe I could do some kind of, like if I'm going to keep the hoop on my neck but still try to do these reverses, And do you have any feedback, any short feedback?
Well, one thing I was realizing is that when you drop it, you can get some experience with like trying to pick it back up with your leg.
Yeah, Anne is saying when you drop it, you can get some experience of picking it back up with your leg.
Which is basically the reverse escalator. You know?
Which is, she's saying, is the reverse escalator. Yeah.
I can't actually. I mean, I'm a terrible example.
All right, well, we'll come back to that one.
That's enough.
Okay. What the hell did, that's got to be some kind of troll thing. Or not troll, but sex bot thing. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know what these comments are. Okay. So, thanks YouTube. So, just to give a little bit of a break here. So, we're here and the hoop is on us. If any moment we can just push the hoop off, and penny rolls and their sort of ideas, they can kind of be carried off the body as well. Now, this would be like a super simple version of this would be like if I'm imagining that, like I'm still thinking about that smear point, I'm still thinking about where the hoop is making contact with me. This would be, you know, related to a sort of penny roll type off the body. Boom. And how I get from being penny roll on the body, if I come to the outside, I can kind of like roll it around here, bring it up. These are all like sort of penny roll type feelings. But this is what we were doing before, and what we're getting into now is taking it off the core. And then we're going to explore this more directly on the next exercise, but once I'm off... Oh, thanks, Rita. So this is the movement we're doing. I'm going to push my hands. If I want to come off of that, then anytime I take my hands, see how they're in the same line? If I push one forward, or one up, if I change from horizontal to vertical, the hoop will roll right off of me. So I'm here, boom, just push one hand up. Keeping the elbows high, thank you, Lisa, for bringing that up. That's great insight. Keeping the elbows high is key here. Like, for all these movements, whatever we're doing, I'm about to show you some a little bit more advanced ones, well, kind of, but keeping the elbows high, especially on this back pass. And then, you know, Anne's not doing it right now, but to take a page from Anne's other teachings, if I take big steps with this, it can really, like she sort of started doing just now, if I take big steps with this, I can get lots of cool momentum as well. So I'm like here, taking big sort of A-framey type steps. But this is if you're super lost, this is sort of the basics of what we're talking about, and then we're using that to help us get off the body. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get a little techie here. Since this is a foundations class, I want everybody to sort of get a sense of what's going on here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create And actually, for a moment here, we're going to go to the yeah, okay. Let me think about that comment. All right. So let me show you something here for a second. So here is this foldy. Aw. Yeah, I think you're definitely intermediate, Rita. Not to interfere in your all's conversation, but so this is a hinge back and forth, and the next motion that we're going to work on that is related, I think, to penny rolls, or at least hopefully I'll be able to show you this, is this move, this cool move where you come up and you stop in the same way you were stopping the rotation before by pushing the hand back and forth. You can start to stop the swing by coming up and stopping it with the hand. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is the hinge, and it's going back and forth, right? If I started to just sort of move those hinges onto the core, right? It's going to take me a minute to find like all my points and whatever. But then as it comes across and the hoop is on the other side of the body within the arm that's holding it, if I bring this hand up, I can use that a sort of 2-point stop there to stop the hoop going. Anne's doing it right now. Do you see how like she's swinging across, the hoop's coming across, but her hand's coming up. Boom. So this is the motion here. And then if you start to get, you can get kind of fast with it, and that's sort of what Anne's doing right now. And so the cool thing is that the faster you get, the actual better it is, because momentum in this case will help keep the hoop stuck to you, right? So if I can get kind of fast with this movement, so this is me doing it. And let me show you guys one more time from, hopefully this is working. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, you just gave me a class idea. Boom. Okay, let me bring some music on here. All right, so this is more of a techie move. So I want you to see if you can feel like any kind of fluidity with this. And so this is if you're old school, as old as this T-shirt, then this is what's called a sticky break, and this is where like one hand is, I'm breaking it in one way, boom, but without it leaving the body, it becomes another type of break, and in a sense, that's what's happening here. So if your arms aren't right, one way you can think about this is to hug the hoop, that'll create motion that sends it across, and then tuck the hand back up to stop it. So I'm gonna hug it, that's gonna send it across, right? Now I'm sending it to the right, my left hand, as I hug it, it's gonna come back up and snake, right? And start to hold that hoop there, okay? And then this is if I just go from one to the other, just like Anne was just doing. Now the more I twist, right? You can really see it in the bird's eye there. The more that I twist, the flatter my hoop is going to stay. And then I don't know if Jackie's still watching or if she's still here. If you've done this move before, there's all kinds of cool things you can do where you're like hand walking it through the passes. I know Jackie and I have talked about this, I'm pretty sure. But like, so where I'm just, instead of me just bringing the hoop back and forth, now I'm going to start to push my hands up and I can kind of do a hand walk. I don't know if that's making sense. It feels cooler than it looks, honestly. Boom, boom, boom. Right. Now, whenever you aren't sure, you create we're creating verticals with from our elbow to our wrist. That really helps us hold the position. Like if you watch right here, when I'm doing this one that we were just doing, my elbow is not high. We're doing the opposite of what Lisa was recommending right now because we're gonna do something else. instead of my elbows being high, I need to lower them, right? So as it's here, see how low my elbow is? It's not up here, it's down here, right? So I'm here, and I'm creating a vertical between, my wrist point and the back of my hand and my elbow. Sweet, at least Louisa got it. So I think Louisa comments on Facebook and watches on YouTube. I'm not sure, but if you are watching on Facebook right now, it's probably not very good quality. Okay. All right, before everybody's arms burn out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to show you one more version of that. Carla said that, for those who can't read the comments, she's saying that the elbow height helped. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more of these. And these are all kind of related, and I don't think there's a single thing I'm teaching tonight that isn't already sort of archived in YouTube somewhere by me, but sweet. Oh, nice. All right, so I don't want to break the flow up here, but I'm going to give you one more of these kind of hingy type two pointy things. So what I'm going to do is you're holding the hoop like this, and you're going to bring your elbows together underneath the hoop like that, right? So I'm holding the hoop there. I've got my, right? And then my hands are going to come up, and they're going to be outside the hoop. So do you see how I'm sort of holding the hoop here? So my elbows are inside it, then my wrists are coming there, and then if I get my swingers right, yeah, Patty, if you switch over to HoopPath backs, it looks and sounds so much better. Facebook screws with my, I have really slow internet, so it's a little choppy anyway, but it's extra choppy on Facebook. Okay, so as I'm doing this movement right here, I can go ahead and start to do all of my little HoopPathy things, and by that I mean twist with it and turn with it and feel like a twist. No, what happens, and since we're kind of running low on time already, is this is the move. So what happens is I swing the hoop out, and then my wrist, my elbow goes high, and I can actually create another one of these breaks that we were doing before. Okay, good. YouTube is good. So I can do one of these breaks. So actually, let me show it to you what it looks like first. No, I'll be honest with you. This is one of those moves where Viv always, the language coming if you have kiddos. She's always, because you have effed up arms, is the only reason I can do this. This is what Viv says, but I want you to watch what I'm doing here. I'm swinging it back and forth like this. And then when it swings over, I'm going to pinch it that way. See my elbow's here, and that's going to, and I bring my elbow back down. So I'm here. This is my base. And there's another angle. Snake hands. Okay, cool. Yeah. Actually, let's bring some music on because I don't want to kill everybody's momentum by me trying to explain one move. But this is, let me show you what the move, this is what the move looks like. And it's kind of like the inverse of this thing, right? See, this thing is my elbow's on the inside. This way, my elbow, well, it's kind of hard to explain, but you see this hit, boom. There you go. Nice, Anne's got it now. If you still haven't felt it, there's one way you can kind of feel it, which is to take your hands here, and you're gonna hold them up, and then pull, like flare your palms out towards me, but then pull it back towards your elbows, and you'll feel, you'll feel that pressure there, right? Now, if I let go of one hand, the hoop is gonna swing out. We're gonna do just exactly what we were just doing, right? So it's here. If you're, this is new for you. Just fingers here, and you're gonna create some pressure like this, right? And I'm feeling it on my night side back here. And then if I drop, whenever I want to send it around, I'm gonna drop that one elbow. The force is gonna drop. Boom. It's gonna send the hoop across, right? So that's this motion. That's just one more way to get into this motion.
We're
So then we're not limited to just working on this, but just to flow the things that we've talked about so far, this is kind of how it would all sort of come together. I don't want you guys to burn out too much, but one more motion that you guys can feel that is related to this is just going back to what we were doing before, just letting the elbows get, oh nice, is letting the elbows get, what was I going to say? I forgot. Oh, right. With this grip, so I'm holding my hands here at the poles, but then I'm coming up and I'm bringing it into my elbows. So I'm here, I'm hanging the hoop flat. I'm gonna bring it up until it's into my elbows here, okay? And so now I've got that same leverage that I had before. Yeah, exactly. Anne's got it. It's the same thing with Tara. It's like, it's always awesome that Anne's willing to learn things in front of you guys or explore things that she doesn't normally do. Let's put it that way. Patty, you made it over here. I hope it looks better. If it doesn't, it's all just a myth that I've been sold. So once again, if you're getting lost, or Patty, if you lost the thread because you all the switching over, this is one of the movements we're working on right now. Sweet. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna get at. I guess I'll show you guys that. Well, just actually, never mind. Well, it's like if I'm taking this movement here, I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but if I'm taking this movement here, I can, if I allow the momentum to happen, I can bring it back down into this grip back here. So it's almost like I'm kind of doing this old school vortex, but the penny roll version of it. And what I mean by that is that as I'm bringing the hoop back down, it's actually it's not hitting my core so much, it's going into another hand. And then that hand is putting the pivot on it again. If that made sense, then you and I are really synced up together. You and the folks at home. All right, so I'm gonna lay off the mic, let you guys ask questions if you have them, or just explore. realizing that even given the late start, actually we have a little bit more time, but you were going to say something. I'm going to give you the mic and just let you say it into the mic. You'll be able to hear it.
Hey. Yeah, no, I don't want to try to put it on. I was just reflecting that I was having a great experience with these exercises and changing my rate of turn a lot, going slow and then speeding up. And there's a feeling of falling into the vortex that I was just feeling in that last exercise there. That was kind of, for me, what I was aiming for, because that's something, it's like a quality that I really see, especially in Brecken's hooping, that kind of falling into the vortex. And I feel like following the penny roll. It can be, such a beautiful expression of that, falling in and surrendering. So I was just going to suggest changing the speed to people. Speeding up, slowing down, speeding up. I think it's really fun.
All right. So, okay, so we'll give your arms a break for a second, and we've done this before. And speaking of Brecken, she and Dustin toured together. This is the move that I associate, or a area of hoop study that I associate mostly with him. Everybody's done this before, though. Like, he would not even claim that, but I definitely think like he took it far. If I let the hoop hang on me here, there's all kinds of like cool things that you can do. And this is super flow nerd, right? Like you're definitely, you might think you're a beginner, but you're out there if you're into this technique, which I am definitely. But you allow the hoop to lean against you, and then as the hoop is leaning, then you start to move your body to maintain that point of contact. Now, a bigger hoop is definitely easier to do this. And then modern day hoopers, will wedgie and like throw their legs around this type of movement to sort of snap it all back up. But you can kind of see, I think, kind of how this is sort of penny roll related, or actually it's more than just related. It is a penny roll. And so like, especially if you have like a big mama hoop, these are really fun to do. It's fun at parties, is to get a couple of hoopers in them and get these big sort of hoops going. And just sort of allow like the hoop to sort of lean from you or your partner or whoever onto another thing. And then all of these movements that we've been working on all night long, they all pick up from this floor movement. And then I'll just throw this last little trick in there. If you don't know how to pick up from this, if the hoop is leaning against me, I drop my wrist on top of the hoop, right? And then I fold my hands out. And then I pull back and I fold the hoop onto me. So if I'm leaning the hoop here, I put my wrist onto top of the hoop there. I fold my hands out, and then from there, boom, if I need that. Okay. All right, we're gonna work. So we're gonna close with some little Dustin Hubel exploration time, or whatever you want to, and then we'll free hoop and call it a night.
Come on.
I gotta keep thinking of these things I want to say before we get totally let go. If you're not feeling this snakehead connection that we've been talking about all night, just anytime you want to like twirl or learn anything, it helps if you just put the hoop on the ground at first to sort of help your body understand it. And so you can kind of feel some of this. If I just like leave the hoop sitting here on the ground, it's just on the ground right here, and I can just sort of tweak it back and forth with my hand. Oh, sweet, Lisa, thank you. And you can't, and just, Lisa just wrote to you, yes, Ann, this has been very meditative for me after a very stressful few days, and it's been wonderful. You're welcome, Patty. Thank you, guys. So much. Little behind the scenes, I hit my stereo, the system behind me so hard that it seems to have broken it. So we can't hear anything that you guys are hearing. Hopefully you guys are hearing music. I hope you are. So anyway, we're going to actually call it a night a little bit early because we can't hear music. We don't want you guys to watch us sleep in silence in here. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Let's see. And you want to wave goodbye there? Okay, hopefully you guys are hearing this. Anyway, but we will call it a night, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back next Monday. Right. Yes.